And now for a little bit of cowboy wisdom. Washington, D.C. produces nothing that contributes to the gross domestic product unless you consider hot air to be of some economic value. And it produces that commodity in large quantities. Our nation's capital is full to the brim with pundits and prognosticators, columnists and commentators who regularly offer their opinions and advice on the great issues that face America. This is the main source of this toxic substance. Add to that the hot air that emanates from the podium of the White House press room and the clusters of microphones in the hallways of the Capitol, and you have enough to cause concern that is contributing to global warming. Oh my. It should be regulated as a greenhouse gas. More often than not, throughout the 2016 primary campaign, the effluent the pundits and their ilk spew has been categorically wrong. But that don't stop them from pontificating to the populace. Now, the accuracy of their predictions are no better than the know-it-all that sits at the end of the bar telling everyone within earshot about what will happen in the ball game on the TV. It is especially galling when the chattering class talks about the great unwashed who reside across the Potomac in what they derisively call flyover country. What they know about the everyday struggles of these citizens you could fit in a thimble. But that doesn't stop them from making assumptions of how these people feel about the candidates and the issues of the campaign. Now, unless they're shopping at Grocery Outlet in the West Virginia coalfields and not the Whole Foods in Tony, Georgetown, they are clueless. And now that Donald Trump has secured the Republican nomination for president, they feel compelled to give him their sage advice on who he should choose as his vice president and how he should campaign. Trump is wisely not listening to them. After all, these are the same folks who predicted he'd never get this far. Others in the conservative anti-Trump hot air crowd are now looking for buildings to jump off or shopping for some hemlock as they prepare to commit professional suicide rather than join with the bumpkins in a campaign that they believe will lead to certain defeat in November. In many ways, the D.C.-based conservative commentariat have no one to blame but themselves. They are no longer on the fringe of the media complex. They are full-fledged, card-carrying members of that group. They are part of the establishment, and they have been co-opted with the same riches that have made lobbyists and think tank thinkers millionaires. The establishment is not just politicians and political parties. It is everyone and everything that occupies the 68 square miles surrounded by reality that is Washington. Their advice on how to connect with the American voters and the heartland should be taken with a huge grain of salt. So here's your cowboy wisdom for the week. Advice is like a pot of chili. You should try a little of it yourself before you give everybody else a taste. The armchair campaign consultants, disguised as columnists and commentators, offering Donald Trump, and before that the other failed candidates, their wisdom on how to run a winning campaign, have been wrong from the get-go. They should taste their own chili first before they offer it to others. Perhaps they have. That would account for some of the hot air in Washington. And that's a little cowboy wisdom.